Hi, I'm Enchanting Nubianette. Welcome back. And to those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. So much has been occurring since last week Friday. All day there are reports stating that the U.S. Secret Service agents failed to secure the entire perimeter of the rally. Veteran snipers and federal agents stated that all building roofs would typically be manned. Usually precise measurements of buildings, distance from Trump, are calculated and approved by a team of experts, but that didn't happen. During panel discussions, conversations are centered on the lack of security details in Butler County, Pennsylvania. It's uncanny that trained agents considered experts in the U.S. security demonstrated such negligence. Highly trained agents mentioned that the grounds surrounding former President Donald Trump were not secure at all. There were so many faults. Because of the Secret Service's failures, the president-elect nearly transitioned. An attendee, 50-year-old Corey Compatore, passed away. He was a retired fire chief who was sitting right behind Donald Trump. Plus, a few individuals are still injured, mainly because secret agents and local law enforcement did not communicate. Thorough communication in all areas within proximity to a politician would be commonly done. And secondly, since Trump isn't an active president, some commentators said that resources, funding were scarce, not fully provided. I've learned that an active president, vice president, the president-elect, and vice president-elect by law are protected. Decades ago, back in 1965, U.S. Congress authorized the Secret Service, Public Law 89-186, to protect a former president and his or her spouse during their entire lifetime, unless they decline protection. Their wives and children up to age 16 are protected too. So why are there excuses about Trump, a former president's protection, which is mandated 24/7? As we know, Trump has been consistently campaigning for 2 years now. Last week's rally was scheduled to be his very last campaign before the election. Trump is wealthy and has earned an abundance of donations from the campaigns. His wealthy supporters have provided huge amounts of money as well. If there was an issue of funding, Trump could have easily paid that bill or those bills. It's intriguing to hear federal employees of the Secret Service say there was a lack of funds, especially when millions of dollars are given to other countries around the world. Specifically, as we know, the U.S. is providing billions of dollars to the Ukraine and Israel. I've said this in my last video. How does a 20-year-old novice, Thomas Matthew Crooks, saunter in a building with a rifle and then manages to go up on the roof? Even more bizarre, a male witness told reporters that he and a few other attendees saw the assassin jumping from one roof to the other. At the time, he said, in quotes, 2 officers were looking for something or somebody, end of quotes. He told the officer that he saw Thomas Matthew Crooks with his weapon. Another red-haired man, I don't know his name, told the officers the same details. At first, they allegedly were ignored. Next, an officer went to the roof. Apparently, he saw Thomas Crooks in close proximity, then left. So if the officer had targeted Crooks, the entire incident would have been avoided. Look at this video. On every assignment, agents' walkie-talkies are encrypted so the exchange of information is clear and concise. However, it seems their radio signals last week may not have been encrypted. There wasn't clarity in the communications. Local police may not have known they were supposed to guard certain places or specific areas. Also, some attendees spotted the assassin, Crooks, before any of the Secret Service agents or police officers. That's extremely uncanny.
The Secret Service model is based on multiple redundancies and layers of security, so that if one fails, they've got backup, right? Everything failed. So I don't get it.
Security measures aside, there is some concern that federal and local authorities dismissed the warning signs brought up by witnesses at the rally.
A couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see it?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see.
Well, it's not, I see it as not, I'm with you. I see it as not so much ignored with regard to the spectators pointing and shouting to the police, but rather a dropped ball and confusion. What the spectators are describing is officers kind of looking at them saying, what are you talking about? What roof? What do you see? We don't see it. And what that means is the officers were not getting on their radio, right? They're not, get on the radio. We had witnesses saying something's up on the roof. Constant communication. So will this investigation find that they weren't on the same frequency as Secret Service? That's a huge problem. I've seen this happen to me, that they didn't know they were responsible for the roof, right? If they were. We have reports now, multiple reports, that an officer went up a ladder or climbed up to the roof because of the spectators' concerns, took a look at the shooter. Shooter looked at him. Officer reportedly went back down the ladder. Okay, so, did that officer get on the radio and give an emergency signal? I have contact. Typically it's contact, shooter. I don't know. And because this is important to find out, because if that officer had said shooter on roof, I have contact, which means I have an armed person, that Secret Service sniper or other sniper could have taken that guy out in a millisecond. And
the owner of the building where Thomas Matthew Crooks utilized stated that none of the U.S. secret agents or local authorities spoke to him. He wasn't asked any information about his building. For example, no one spoke to him during the preparation for the campaign rally, not during or even after the violent incident. There wasn't a concern if the building was locked beforehand, if the windows could be opened for someone to get inside, or if someone was already inside. A veteran federal agent mentioned that during his assignments, windows of buildings were even nailed shut before a large political event, and the entire vicinity is usually closed off to the public. Surveillance videos captures the areas with views from above, the perimeters, definitely closest proximity to the stage, and every single attendee is searched and scanned before entering the area. No one can rationalize why these federal agents would neglect that building and other areas. Agents were not assigned to the outside or interior of the buildings either. It was totally unsecure in that vicinity. By the way, the Secret Service agents have not given any statements to the media as yet. And due to this extreme negligence on behalf of the secret agents, they are now being scrutinized heavily. I'm tuned into the in-depth federal investigations. I know the Secret Service are trained on an advanced level, so it's shocking to myself and the rest of our country how this could be possible. Everyone is saying it. The second aspect of breaking news that surprised me was Donald Trump's choice for vice president. J.D. Vance, U.S. Senator from Ohio. In the past, he mentioned in quotes that he was a never, ever Trump guy, end of quotes. He had a best-selling book, Hillbilly Elegy, focus on his life of poverty, details about his rough childhood, and more. So a few years ago, J.D. Vance disliked Trump to the core, and now he's working alongside him as his top supporter. I get it. His pay raise, power as a vice president, and soon to be lifestyle change with perks are the main factors. Last but not least, I still want to see close-up photos of Trump's right ear. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks a million, and stay safe wherever you are.